Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel for a brand new week. Now, it is Monday, so I'm going to do what we did last week and kind of work through all of the latest news that is going on at Celtic, the vast majority of it being transfer news. We may kind of turn this lunchtime slot on a Monday into this kind of video with the ticker running along the bottom when I can chat about all the stuff that may have happened over the weekend. We will have a preview to tomorrow night's game against Michelin dropping on the channel later today, so keep an eye out for that too. Before we get on to the news and before I play the intro jingle, it has been a pretty big weekend from a 67 Hail point of view. On the YouTube, we have crossed 16,000 subs. Pretty good when my target was to get to 15,000 by the time we played against Michelin, so thanks to you all. Also, probably even more importantly, we have registered our 3 millionth view on the channel. It seems like we were only doing 2 million not so long ago. The big target, ambitious target, is to get to 5 million by the end of the year. The channel is doing really well, and it's all down to you wonderful people. Wherever you are, whoever you are, thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for supporting the channel. Right, jingle and then Celtic. Right, we'll start with Karl Starfelt. Now, this deal, to all intents and purposes, is a done deal. Numerous journalists are saying this. Anyone who's seemingly in the know with regards to this deal says that Karl Starfelt will soon be a Celtic player. Potential reasons for the deal being held up: I've seen a work visa being mentioned, COVID travel restrictions as well. That would seem to feed into some comments I thought were interesting that Postecoglou made after the defeat to Preston on Saturday, when he said that it's not just as easy as getting a player on a plane and getting them to Scotland. Now, Postecoglou will know that himself. We don't know whether he was talking about Starfelt, about Furuhashi, perhaps he was referring to both, but it does just send you a reminder of how difficult it must be to sign players from around the world, which is what Celtic are doing at the moment. You know, Israel, Russia, Japan, manager from Australia during a global health pandemic that is still ongoing. It just shows that some of the things we maybe don't realise as Celtic fans. That's not me standing up for the club. We should certainly have had a centre back and a right back in time for the Michelin tie, but it is just a reminder. Starfelt has passed a medical in Moscow and will join Celtic for a reported fee of £4.5 million, signing a long-term contract, 3 or 4 years, I would assume. Right, where are we with fullbacks and specifically right backs? We have heard the names Brandon Soppy and Sasha Boy both been mentioned. Both of them play with Rennes. Check out any video I did last week to get some sort of insight on them. But we've got a new name to add into the mix. He is Portuguese and his name is Aurelio Buta. He plays for Royal Antwerp in Belgium. He's 24 years old, so got a few years on both Soppy and Boy and has a lot more experience as well. He's played over 100 times for Antwerp over the last few years since he swapped the Benfica B team for a move to Belgium. Now, Celtic seem like a kind of next logical step for Buta. Don't quite make it at Benfica, go away to Belgium, play for one of the better teams in Belgium, a side that beat Spurs last year, got to the Europa League last 32, regular for them, and then move to a club like Celtic. It seems to make a lot of sense. I'm not actually too bothered about whether it's Buta or Soppy, and to a lesser extent Boy, who seems to be a little bit behind those two, but still quite an attractive proposition. I think in general the names we've been linked with for this right back role that is so important are pretty positive. I would love for us to go out and sign 2 of them, because we really probably need to. If we were to sign Buta and Boy, or maybe more unlikely Buta and Soppy, then that would be absolutely brilliant business for Celtic. But I'm really impressed by the calibre of these players. I think they seem like the right players Celtic should be signing. They have the right profile, both in terms of what they've done so far in their career and how they play the game as well. All 3 of them, I think, are real attacking options, something we lacked at both right back and left back at long spells of last season. We haven't replaced Jeremy Frimpong yet, who was an amazing attacking threat, and if we could bring in one of these 3 players, then it would seemingly go a long way to doing that. It's never really truly a transfer window until Celtic have been linked with a move for Fraser Forster. A couple of outlets saying that we are in talks to bring the Southampton goalkeeper back to Celtic for the 14th time in his career. The chat is that we would have to pay 2/3 of his hefty Southampton wage to bring him back to the club. And I just think this is a non-starter. And I really hope that Celtic aren't seriously looking at bringing Forster back in. Listen, brilliant goalkeeper. I'm not one of these guys that say, oh, he had his chance last year, I don't want him at the club. He didn't want to be here. We don't want him now because he's desperate. That's not the reason I'm saying don't bring him back. The reason I'm saying don't bring him back is that we have a goalkeeper there, Vasilis Barkas, who has started the season quite well, a £5 million goalkeeper who the manager has put a good bit of trust in so far. Will almost certainly, I would say, start against Midtjylland. And then apparently the club want to re-sign Fraser Forster on loan again. Now, what would that do to Barkas's already shattered confidence from last year? It can't happen. We've got to stick with Barkas. Barkas is better with his feet as well, and Postecoglou clearly wants his goalkeepers to be able to dictate the play and start the play in many ways. We've found that out already in 4 pre-season games. He's far more confident with the ball than Fraser Forster. He may not be quite as good a goalkeeper, but he's certainly a lot better than what we saw last season, and we'll only see a better Barkey if we put confidence in him. Elsewhere in the transfer sphere, Ryan Gauld has joined Vancouver Whitecaps. I don't think he was ever seriously an option for Celtic, mainly because we've got a world-class talent in David Turnbull, the best Scottish player since, I don't know, Jimmy Johnson, maybe? Clip that up. Brighton are set to sell Ben White to Arsenal for £50 million. £50 million. It kind of puts two things in the shade. It puts £25 million for Kieran Tierney. That now looks a laughably low fee. And also £15 million for Christopher Ajer. £50 million for Ben White. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you this is that Brighton could bank that money, and some reporters are saying that they could use it to sign Odsonne Edouard. Daily Express, I think, are the main ones reporting that down south. So take that possibly with a bit of salt, but maybe one to watch. So that's Edouard. Lee Griffiths as well could be offered a route out of Celtic by Sunderland. Now, they reportedly want to sign him on loan for the last year of his Celtic contract. Let's see how that one plays out as well. It's gone very quiet on Lee Griffiths, I will say that. Now, other news. If we get through our Champions League tie against Midtjylland, big if, we will face either PSV Eindhoven or Galatasaray. Wow, nice and easy. But we're not talking about that until we get past the Danes. Touch wood. Right, a couple more things to mention on today's video. You may or may not know this, but we do a podcast. It's standalone from the YouTube, and when I say that, what I mean is that we don't rip the audio from any YouTube videos and just stick out on our podcast feed. This is very much its own thing. It's actually how we started out in what seems like a lifetime ago. We got together last night for the first time in 98 days to chew the fat about everything that's happening at Celtic, from Ange Postecoglou to Dom Mackay to players coming in to players going out to Fabrizio Romano's Celtic love-in to the summer we nearly signed Jimmy Bullard, Jay Bothroyd and David James. All of that stuff was mentioned and so much more. It was me, John, who you know from the channel, and also Stevie from the wonderful Glasgow is Green podcast, aka Gig Pod. It's called The Grand Old Podcast. Now, if you search any podcast app, the one you use for The Grand Old Podcast, you will find it. But just in case you're lazy, lazy is the only real reason I can give there, I will link it in the description below. So check it out. I know some of you quite like to maybe go out a run, or I quite like listen to podcasts in bed before I go to sleep, maybe when you don't want to watch something. So this may be your thing. It may not be, in which case I've wasted the last couple of minutes, but yeah, crack on. Another thing I wanted to mention, just to finish the video, Ryan Dooley, who is a lifelong Celtic and Liverpool fan, is doing something quite remarkable. He is walking from Celtic Park to Anfield. He's doing it in the space of 2 weeks. It's 230 miles. He's leaving on August the 22nd, and he has teamed up with Teenage Cancer Trust for this. A brilliant, brilliant charity and a brilliant move from Ryan to do this. He got in touch with me to raise awareness for what he's doing, and basically to give any of you watching the channel an opportunity, if you feel it's worth it, to donate to his charity. Now, it goes without saying, I will link this below as well, the Just Giving page. You can have a look at exactly what Ryan is doing. But also, I caught up with Ryan earlier, and he told me all about what and why he is doing this. Have a look at this. We'll chat to you later ahead of the Michelin game.
I'm a trainee physical education teacher, so I come into contact with a lot of teenagers, and it was kind of through that I kind of was first made aware of Teenage Cancer Trust, and I just thought it'd be a wee bit mental to. I think one night I was listening to You Never Walk Alone. I think I had a few shandies, maybe after a good result, and I thought, wouldn't that be really cool if I could put those words of a song actually and do some good with it, from walking from Celtic Park to Anfield. Anfield being the other team that I've kind of been brought up supporting, Liverpool, the other team I've been brought up supporting. I've got family in Liverpool, family in Glasgow, and I just thought it'd be a really cool thing to do and try and raise some money doing it.
230 miles. You've got 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah, man.
What are you looking at every day? How many miles is that? My maths is way off.
I think it works out about 16 to 18 miles a day.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be long days, and so I've been doing training. I first started off by going, right, okay, I live in Blantyre, just outside Glasgow, and I thought, right, I'll see if I can walk to Paisley. See if I can just walk to Paisley. So I walked to Paisley, and I thought, right, cool, I'll go another day and go a bit further. So I've been doing training like that. I've done the West Highland Way. So I'm okay. I think I'm still really nervous, man. I know it's just walking, but I think you get to a point where you think, right, that was a big long walk today. Then head down, and you need to go again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But hopefully, by the time I get to Liverpool, and even if I'm crawling, hopefully the money that I've raised does some good. It's a really good cause, and I just thought, why not, man?
100%. It's a great cause. It's brilliant. You're, I think, a quarter of the way to your £3,000 target at the moment. Hopefully, the people watching this, maybe with a couple of spare pounds in their wallets or whatever, will see what you're going to do. We'll see the brilliant cause you're doing it for, which, I should reiterate, is the Teenage Cancer Trust. Amazing organisation. They do some great things. You're doing a great thing doing this. What would you say to anyone watching this who is maybe just thinking, I could chuck you a couple of quid, give you a bit extra motivation on the walk down?
Please do. That's what I would say. I mean, thanks a lot for letting me come on firstly, and then you guys have gave me some money. Celtic have been great. They've said to me, you can leave from the centre circle at Celtic Park.
Brilliant.
I'm hoping that they're going to play You'll Never Walk Alone over the tannoy. I'm still banging on Liverpool's door to say, listen, Celtic have been good, so I want to walk into your park and play You'll Never Walk Alone at the other side. That's if I make it. Even if it's a quid or whatever you can afford, honestly, you've got people sitting, especially in this time during the whole coronavirus thing, you've got people who should be focusing on the next stage of their life, really enjoying going into their adulthood. Instead, they're faced with this awful situation, and these guys even go in and they put like PlayStations in. These guys are playing FIFA with them. Even wee things like that. Mm-hmm. Your money goes towards that. So if you're thinking about, I could have another pint or I could do this. Please do this, because every little helps, and it's only 3,000 I'm trying to get to. If I can get over that, that'd be amazing. I'm not so social media savvy. That's obviously where you could help me out. So the more people that find out about this cause, the better. And the more we raise, the more smiles we're going to put on people's faces.